So I'm just gonna keep recording these, and they're not gonna stop. Reading from the Bible. Take the boy. Take the boy away. Just put him in the basement with the other one. Genitals. The beginning.
In the beginning.
In the beginning, God made the uptop and the soiled gross down below where the mouth breathers dwell and mash pissers. Now the earth was formless like a pair of yoga pants adorned by your mother, yet empty, unlike a pair of yoga pants adorned by your mother, of which I have been known to fill from time to time myself. And God said, "Make not dark now, G." And there was the big bright. God saw that the light was immaculate, and he separated light from the darkness. Makes you think of 1900 to 1939, huh? God called the light day, and the darkness he called darky. And there was evening, and there was morning. Morning is usually the time when your mother has to saunter out of my house to her cave, the first day. And God said, "Let there be an expanse between the waters to separate water from water." And then his teacher sent him back that sentence for corrections, commenting on the fact that it was wordy as fuck, yo. So God made the expanse and separated the water under the expanse from the water above it. Kind of like a small child doing a science experiment with water and oil in a Power Rangers translucent glass because their parents didn't want to buy them actual toy, and said that the water and oil were just like the My First Science Experiment toy at Target. And it was so. God called the expanse Big Up, and there was evening, and there was morning the second day. Coincidentally, this was also the second day your mother slithered away from my abode, only to, of course, be seen by me the next day, and 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 every day from that day on, and so forth, as is your mother's way. And God said, "Let the moist under the big up be gathered to one place, your mother's undergarments, and let the dry ground appear, much like your girlfriend's vagina when you arrive home because you are quite bad at the sex, and keep referring to the clitoris as a lady ween." God called the dry ground crust, and gathered the waters he called wet. And God saw that it was quite all right. Then God said, "Let the land produce vegetation for the dirty vegans, seed-bearing plants like your mother, and trees on the land that bear fruit with seed in it, much like me bearing seed for your mother, according to their various kinds." And it was so. The land produced greasy, dirty vegans, plants bearing seed according to their kinds, and trees bearing fruit with seed in it, like your mother when she bears my seed, according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening and there was morning, the third day. Funny enough, 'twas the day your mother crawled away from my cottage after a third day of making love. And God said, "Make the day be in the big up to make the bright time to be not so from the darkness that your mother resides in, and let them make it quite so that the seasoning is different from the days and the years, and let them be real bright in the expanse of the big up to give light on the earth." And it was made to be. God made two great lights, the greater light to govern the day and give cancer to the sun-baskers, and the lesser light to let your mom know it's time to go on the prowl and make way to my home. And God saw that it was quite all right. And there was evening, and there was once again the time of day for your mom to run from my house down the street again, or the fourth day. And God said, make a bunch of fish and shit in the moist, and let some of the ground things fly and defecate upon the crust across the big up. God created the big swams in the moist, moister than most oysters. And then some shit went up in the air. God bless, and said, be fruity boys, make the sex and fill up my moist along with the wet, and let the birds do the same, but not while they're flying. They can try, but if a bird dick gets stuck in a stink crevice and they pull a 9/11 into one of those big-ass trees I made, don't cry down your back fat and fall into my moist on me about it. And there was evening and there was morning, the fifth day. Once again, your mother, my house, Sigma male energy shit, and fat doinks. And God said, it's time to duel, and from the land shall burst forth livestock, creatures that crawl and grovel across the crust, like your flap titties grinding about the crusty dry, and the wild animals, each according to its kind. And it was so. God done did the thing on the place with the hairy boys. And then they went real fast, man. Like 2 8-balls and a fifth of white lightning fast. God saw that it was tight. Then God said, let's make the walking wet sloppies in our image, in our likeness, and let them rule over the fish boys and the big up boys along with the hairy crawlers. So God made man in his Kodak photo station image processing unit, and it was lit, yo. And then he put a set of swingers on the pee-pee possessors and said, no. He then elected to cut off the dangle, making an inner instead of an outer, which prompted him to be like, Yah, God said, bless you, and mass thine pisser against hers, and make more pisser mashes to pisser mashed potatoes. Fill up this whole bitch with them. Be your own tiny sub-gods of the fish and the bards and the rest of the hairy ones, whomst you will kill and eat up. Then God said, I give you all these plants to eat of and such, but most importantly, I give you this fan-leaf budded plant to roll the fattest of doinks with. If you feel so inclined, you can seize the nearest blunt weapon and bludgeon any other living creature to death so you can make a Big Mac, if you please. God saw all that he made, and he was pretty fucking pleased with himself. His breast swelled with pride, but then he broke one of his fingers, because pride is a sin. And he didn't kill his son yet to put a Yu-Gi-Oh! Trap card of confession and original sin in the hand of man. It was then morning, the sixth day. Thus the heavens and the earth were created, and the Alpha was released. Version 1.1 has been out forever now, and in all honesty is quite trash. Support for this abomination we call life is about as good as support for your run-of-the-mill EA title. By the seventh day, God was done, and he sat back to play League for the rest of the weekend, and late into Saturday night, until the light of Sunday came up into the big up, and he was all like, "Goddamn, church," and had to pound a vanilla monster Java and 1/16 of a pack of Swedish fish. Then God had to run back home after he had driven his Nissan Sentra halfway to the church because he forgot that he needed to bless the earth. Once home, he blessed the crap out of the crust and took a quick snoozer. But alas, The snoozer turned into a sleeper, and he flat up missed church. Thanks for making it this far, and if you get a chance to watch my other stuff, I would really appreciate it. I spend a good amount of time on them. I'd like to continue to make more yelling stuff. I enjoy yelling and making stupid voices. If you could also subscribe at this point, it does essentially nothing because I'm still in double digits, but that's okay. You know, I'm sure Hitler only killed like 12 Jews to start with.